And instead, we're just going to play with a little bit of Go code. This is a bit of code that I've been working on for a personal project, and I'm trying to get my Genesys RPG campaign a little more automated than it's been in the past. And so this is a program to manage some characters for me. And tonight, I am experimenting with Go templates to make my character sheets. So you're not going to see my normal test-driven development sort of cycle. Instead, what you're going to see tonight is how I manage a spike. So let's settle in and see what I can do. And if you get questions or suggestions, feel free to put them in the chat. I will try to keep an eye on that, and uh, we'll see what happens. And if you're not familiar with Genesys role playing, let me take you very quickly here. This, in fact, isn't the right website. Let me take you to the right website. So it is made by Fantasy Flight Games. And as you can see here, their website. It's a generic role-playing game. It's based off of their Star Wars system that they made that was very, very successful, Edge of Empire, or there's two other variants, Force and Destiny, and there's another one for the Rebel Alliance. And my friends and I had a lot of fun playing those games, and so we decided we wanted to try something in Genesys. But we aren't doing a live actual play tonight. We are instead doing a little bit of code exploration for software to manage the game. So, starting out here, this is our character sheet, and if you can go look at that website that was up there. And in fact, let me put that in the chat for everybody following along. You can go and take a look at it. So there's the link to the website with the game. And so this is the rough outline of the character. And so this is going to be a bit of a mess because the spacing is the spacing's quite obviously not the same. Excuse me, I had a late dinner. Our local pizza place is a little bit slow on the delivery. And so I am still got some of my post-dinner coughing. All right, so that's that. There's other stuff that needs to get filled out, but in fact, the character does not contain those things yet. And so I'm working off of these examples here on the Golang website for how to handle templates, and we're just going to look through here and learn what we can. So in their example, they've defined their template up here, which I've done. So that's the definition of the template. Oops. That's the definition of the template right there. It's in a variable called letter. Or I'm sorry, it's in a constant called letter. It's not a variable. It doesn't really carry type information. And they have this data structure here called a recipient that has properties name, gift, and attended. And so we've got a complicated chain of things going on here. First, we have to parse the letter, which is that string data. Create a template. Well, we create a template new. We give it a name right in here. And on that template new, we parse our template. And then that must. I'm not sure what that must function does, but we're at spike stage. We don't have to know all those things yet. So that's the core of it. And the very first thing that we really need to do is we need to get a hold of our character sheet, because I haven't loaded it into the program yet. Here's our program. we've got a function here, get file path, which should serve to load our files. Let me try this. This depends on an environment variable called Genesys dir. I've got that set up already. And when I ultimately ship this application, I may change that. Go programs are actually pretty good about figuring out the path to their executable. And so I may just do that, or I may set the Genesys directory when I install the program. I haven't quite worked all that out yet. These are problems for once we have a working program. All right, so that should read a couple of data files that I need. I need to know the character archetypes. This is in another game. This might be your character race. In the setting that we'll be playing my game in, the archetype is more like, what's your background? Are you a laborer? Are you an intellectual? Are you a member of the nobility? And we've got some skills. Okay, and we need to... All right. I have to go and look up how one goes about reading in a whole file. Fortunately, I do that a lot in this particular file. There we do it. That's reading a file in, so we're just going to put that over here. So sheet is our character sheet, and our file name here, we have to do this same get file path game here. And it's in sheets text.sht. The idea is we could have multiple different types of character sheets. We'll start with the text-based sheet, which is probably fine for a lot of purposes. And we'll move up. We can make a markdown sheet, so it's good for including in a website that uses markdown. And maybe we'll make an HTML sheet so we can let somebody with some design skills just make a nice looking sheet for us. Okay, so next item. I've got my sheet. It's grumbly because I'm not using the sheet variable. You know, frankly, I think it's right to be grumbly. Oh, you know what? I am returning these errors, and I'm not checking them. So let's do that. And what am I reading there? I'm reading skills. So we'll die in a horrible fire that way. Right, now if I should fail, those die horribly. Okay, I've calculated my character sheet at this point. This calculate program, and I've not compiled this program before, so I don't know if it's going to blow up and die horribly. And I just realized I've been talking for a solid 10 minutes. You couldn't see the screen I was talking about. Okay, sorry about that. Ah, I see my friend Nicole is on. So, Nicole, we're making a character sheet for the Genesys role-playing game. And if you look higher up in the chat, you'll see a link to the game if you want to get some background on it. It's a nice generic role-playing game, and frankly, it's a lot of fun. It's very, very dramatic. The narrative and the drama of the scene are all. So let's see here. We have calculated it. I think I need to do the thing with the sheet now. And we'll go back to that example in the browser, which I'm not going to flip back to the browser because I'm really bad about coming back to the thing that you need. All right, so Nicole didn't get the chat history. So if you just look for Genesys RPG, you'll usually get the right thing. And let me see. I will even be kind, and I will put it up on my screen so it's a permanent part of there. It's now in the stream, and you can get that. So let's see. I had actually gone out there to copy in the example for making a template. And we're, instead of calling it T, we're going to call it S because it's a sheet. And we're going to name the template sheet. From the variable sheet. 12-year-old me is snickering so hard right now. Okay, and so the next item... Oh, it's grumbly about the sheet out there. What's grumbly about? Oh, okay. There needs to be a string. And that string reading utility returns an array of bytes. Excellent. Now I'm pretty sure that this is grumbly about... Yep, I declared S and didn't use it. If you haven't used Go before, it is a very opinionated language. And... that actually makes it really easy to pick up because you just kind of have to do the thing. Okay, so now we do s.execute, and we give it the name of the stream that we want to do, and we're going to do it to standard output. I just want to go to the console. And I want to give it the data, and the data is CC here. CC is my calculated character. And maybe just by way of a little background on how this program works and some of the data types running around. This is sort of the main body of what's going on here. This character.go. It defines data types like a character. And this character here represents what you might store in your character file. In fact, here's an example of a character where it's got all these nice properties in YAML. And we want to perform calculations on that character based on skills they've taken, their attributes that they have. We kind of want to know what their experience is. There are ways that they can boost up secondary characteristics, which I haven't put in yet. But something like their archetype affects all of these abilities here, like brawn and agility and cunning. So right now we're just doing those calculations. And we're also having a list of skills because frankly I was curious, how can I successfully encode a list of skills in YAML? So anyway, we've got our Go program here. So I feel like it's time to go build that program. So that is in our command folder. And here there's a Genesys sheet. And go build. Look at that, it built it. And we have a Genesys sheet file. All right, now I expect this should fail horribly because I'm not going to give it a character sheet. Look at that, index out of range with length 1, as I would expect. Because this is Spike code, I did not do any of the sort of things you would normally do to make that work. Genesys. We do have a test character, so let's see what that gets us. Oh, look at that, it did stuff. I am pretty happy about that, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it didn't do the things I wanted it to do, but we can't have everything, can we? So it got the character name. It got his archetype, the aristocrat. It got his experience. The character isn't recording the career or the player right now. And career might be like a character class or a character template in GURPS. Um, that's not really a thing in generic Genesis, although lots of people use those sort of templates. Certainly, the Star Wars versions of the game use those templates in a lot of their pre-published settings. But we're just gonna give this a look. We'll put those things into the character later when we care about those. Right now, we're just trying to do basic things. So let's go take a look at text.sheet. Okay, so that wasn't everything that I could have wanted out of it. I got 4 things printed out. I really wanted 6, so I missed a couple of things. Willpower and presence. I think what happened is I probably misspelled some things. Now, the big question is, what are the things that I misspelled? So calculated character has brawn, agility, intellect. Oh, it has will. Not willpower. Okay, so let's fix that. So willpower here gets changed to will. Oh my, that was not what we wanted to do. Let's try that again. That's better. Okay. Brawn, agility, intellect. I'll bet I did that one wrong too. I didn't. I'm impressed. I continually amaze myself. So we get cunning, presence. Do we get presence? I also have a feeling when it hit the broken willpower, it probably just said, I'm done. I'm not going to continue. But let's try this again. Now look at that. I didn't have to recompile. I got 4 attributes out. I actually think that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. Now, obviously the formatting leaves a little something to be desired here. We're going to have to put up some other things. Nicole wisely asks, why isn't Blue Shoelaces, IDE isn't helping me with that. I'm not actually using an IDE. This is just Visual Studio Code. And for the most part, it's actually a pretty great IDE for Go. It won't help me with templates, which are just sort of a library that comes with Go, but I'm willing to live with that for the trade-off of what I get out of it. But I wonder if we ask the Wise Manual. Let me switch over to the Wise Manual. If there might be formatting functions that come with this. That's always worth checking out. All right, we have a list of actions here that we can look at. These are comments. That's not helpful. Pipelines. All right, I think pipelines are our variables. If statements. If statements are swell. Range pipeline range, else. All right, template name, meaning we could bring in another template. And with pipeline. No, that's not going to do it. A change sequence of commands. So there might be stuff that we can pull out of there. All right, so there are methods that show up on things. Those attributes there, those are integers. And one of the beauties of Go, if you're not familiar with it, is anything can have a method. Even base types can have a method. That is a really nice thing. Caused me causes interesting things to be possible. So I wonder if there is formatting on that I could have. Oh, function name. All right, functions and function names are described below. Ho ho ho. Look here, we have some function names. We have our string formatting in our templates. Okay, I think we are off to the races here. Go string templating is very close to C string templating. That is absolutely not an accident. They have the same author. Okay, with... So I need to do with... Oops. With that brawn. Do I need to put that in quotes? Does not look like you need to put that in quotes. Alrighty. Oh, okay. So then I do this. Oh, I can just pipe it. Let's try that. All right. Well, thank you, Blue Shoelaces, for stopping by. We're going to pipe that brawn to printf. We don't use quotes. We do use those though. All right. And this will be 2D. As I think about it, I don't think these values can ever get over 9. So it's always going to be one space. So maybe I'm overthinking this. So let's simplify here. All right, and so I want 2 spaces in front of and 2 spaces after. We're going to put 2 spaces in between. All right, so 1, 2. That's 2 spaces. 2 spaces in between. Agility is 8 characters long. It's 7 if you can count right. So we're going to put 3 in front and 3 after and 2 to space it with intellect. Intellect is 9 characters long, and so that means 4 spaces before and 4 spaces after. Cunning is 7 characters long. All right, that means 3 before and 3 after. Willpower is 9 characters long, which means 4 before and 4 after. All right, and presence. 8 characters long, so that's 3 before, 4 after. All right, let's try that. Let's see what we get. I think that might give us a really nice looking thing. I'm gonna do that too. Don't know how this is going to go. We're going to try. Let's just stick that in there. We'll line these up eventually. Maybe the answer is to not stress over it right now. We'll get the actual output and we'll see what we get. Also, I can probably just stick these somewhere roughly in the middle. Guy Royce wisely asks, who's hanging out here besides bots? Well, we've got Guy Royce. We've got Blue Shoelaces. I don't know if I actually get a list of who's in the room or not. That's not very generous with me that way. But I suspect that Magno Rich might be out there, a recent joiner. Don't know who Magno Rich is, but I have suspicions based on the various nefarious characters I hang out with on Twitter. All right. Oh, look at that. That lined up pretty close to right. Now that actually makes me happy. Alrighty. It looks like we're down to just Guy Royce and bots. Well, at least I got a little company here. All right. So I'm getting that extra blank. I'm getting a blank line. I guess I shouldn't be surprised about that. Let's see. After cunning. There we go. We're going to shift that. Let's see how that goes. Look at that. That's pretty nice, to be perfectly honest. I'm quite pleased by it. So that will do. Alrighty, what's my time? I've been at this about half an hour. And for people new tonight, I usually only go for about an hour because who wants to watch somebody else write code for more than an hour? Frankly, even an hour might get a little tedious. All right, so I think the next beast to conquer might be looking at our templates or at our ability to run loops. So, oh wow, we've got a lot of really great stuff here. The functions. I have never before played with the templates, so this is all exciting and new for me. I'm actually pretty thrilled about it. So let's see, templates with blocks, templates with functions, globs, helpers, shares. Let's go to blocks. Let's see if the blocks do anything. No, they don't do anything exciting about loops. Oh, helper, shares. There is a horrible chance here, folks, that I might have to learn how to use my tools. Frankly, I'm not a fan, but, you know, these things happen. Let's go back up and take a look in our functions and our other things that we had up here. There might be something up here that tells us how to... Oh, hey, look at that. Range. There we go. All right, let's do that. So range dot skills, I think is what we called that. Let me go look. Look at that. We called it skills. Okay. And then I think we have to do an end down here to say that we're ending our range. Yes. I have to do a range, and there's our template that goes in there. So skills, these are character skills. Character skills are, there we go. Has all the things from a skill, so the name, the ability. It has proficiency dice and ability dice. And if you haven't played Genesys before, proficiency dice are your skill level that you have from this, and your ability dice are dice that you get just for the ability it's associated with. And the total number of dice you have is your ability dice. So you would start off with a certain number of ability dice if you have the ability. If you have the ability level 3 for that skill, and you've taken 1 point of skill in it, you'd wind up with 1 proficiency die and 2 ability die. And proficiency die have a better range of possible good results for you than ability dice do. So let's go back to our sheet. And I don't want to leave a lot of white space because all that white space gets translated into the document, and that's not good. And so we are going to, first we're going to put a nice big header up here. All right, let everybody know that we're dealing with skills here now. And maybe let's leave a blank line. I don't know about that blank line. We'll see when we get it printed out. All right, so that should be a .name. And parens, we're going to put the ability. Let me go back and make sure I got those name, ability. Oh. Okay, proficiency dice / ability dice. Hey, you know who can't spell? That's right. That's me. And so we're going to go back over here and we're just going to cut and paste. There we go. And we'll do the ability dice. All right, and that ought to do it. That's cool. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, look at that. It did it. That's amazing. That makes my day right there. I've got my athletics, my computers. Oh no, it's not calculating out my ability dice, my ability dice yet. Oh, no, I don't have any ability dice left in both cases. Let's go take a look at that test character. My computer's level is 2. Let's take that down to 1 and let's see what happens to the sheet. There we go. Okay. So it comes out 1-1. That's not so bad then. I can live with that. All right, so let's put this back the way it was. All right. That is not terrible at all. This is a thoroughly workable system. I feel like I might like maybe a different way to lay out the character sheet. So Genesys lays out the character sheet where all the possible skills for your setting are listed on the sheet by default. And that might be what I want to do normally, but I think this is a fine solution just for the moment. I'm not real happy about the 2 blank lines there. I'd like that to be a little tighter. I don't know what causes that. I'll bet, though, if I bring that up there, this will get better. Okay. It's got its issues. Oh, look at that. Now, one of the beauties that I'm really seeing out of this is I can change these character sheets and I don't have to change any software. It's just changing data. Anytime I can just change data to change the appearance of my program, that's a pretty happy day. So I've got a lot of calculations to go on this software yet, but I'm really happy with how this is coming out. All right. Now this is a spike, so I really shouldn't commit it, but I don't know. I think it's going pretty well. This might actually be a good place for me to call this for the night. I've really achieved my goals for the night. If I go on to do anything else, I think I'm starting a task that you're not going to get to see finished. And I don't really think that's a great idea. But may rejoin and do this next weekend or next Friday. This is a fun little side project for me. Or we might take a look at something else that I'm using to keep track of experience in my games. And I don't know if I actually have that installed, or on this computer. Just a file that lets me keep a YAML file, or a program that lets me keep a YAML file and total up all the experience points that I've listed in there per character. And it'll take a directory of those files and give me current character totals for my whole campaign, which is a fun little thing. I wrote that in C++, and for me, it was just a little way to stretch my C++ muscles, and I also found that it was just kind of a nice... it was a nice way to solve a problem and let me explore with a language that I really love. C++ is my favorite language to work in, as many of the people who've been forced to deal with the results of my work can tell you. So, anyway, I'm not going to inflict C++ on you tonight. I think we've inflicted a little go, and that's probably enough cruelty for anybody. But we'll come back to this next week, and there may be a stream this weekend or midweek doing some electronics assembly too for the Stormlight project. So keep an eye on the space, watch the Twitter, and hopefully you'll see something helpful. And good night, everybody. All that template manipulation, and I never showed anybody what the output of the program looked like. So we're just going to go over really fast. I started playing around with this down here. I'm ranging over the skills array in the calculated character. That's a character skill. It has all these things up in here. And I can change things in here. So if I run that in the state that it is now, I get output like that. Let's say I just want to make it a little more explicit that my list of skills has ended. So I get a little cleaner output like that. I can also do, what could I do here? I could give these I could say that this is always 20 characters, and this is always 10 characters. And now if I do that, I'm going to get a really different output there. So I'm going to get something like that. You can see it's maybe a little more uniformly formatted. Now, I'd like the... honestly, I'd like the computers to be a little bit more left formatted. I'd like the skill name to be a little more left justified. So let's try, I think, putting a minus in front of that. So let's do that and see if that gives me something better. Look at that. That's really kind of nice. I like that. I don't know what the longest skill name is. Probably a clever monkey would go through the list and calculate the maximum value first. I am not that clever monkey right now. I probably could do it. I'm not a giant fan of super complicated templates, though. But I would say I'm pretty happy with that. So, anyway, for everybody who actually saw this last little clip, thanks for sticking around, and we'll talk to you later. Good night.